Hello students, hope all are fine. Don't you think this music cheered up your spirit? Today, we shall listen and understand an interesting lesson, The Gift of the Magi, written by O. Henry. Let's quickly find out about O. Henry. O. Henry is the pseudonym of William Sidney Potter, born in 1862 in North Carolina, US. He died in 1910 in New York. He was a popular American story writer. His stories express the effect of coincidence on character through humor, grim or ironic, and often had surprise endings. He started the Rolling Stone, a humorous weekly, in 1887. He has penned more than 600 stories. The first collection of his stories appeared in 1904 in Cabbages and Kings, which became immediately popular. His notable works are The Last Leaf, The Gift of the Magi, The Ransom of Red Chief, and The Furnished Room. The Gift of the Magi is a captivating story by O. Henry, which is related to the age-old practice of giving gifts to our loved ones on the eve of Christmas. Let us begin the story. James Dillingham Young and Della Dillingham Young were a lovely couple. They were poor, yet joyful. The story begins with Della counting the money. She was filled with sadness. She had been trying to save some money with an intention of buying a Christmas present for her husband. She had tried to save some pennies by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher until one's cheeks burned with silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealings implied. Yet she was able to save only $1.87. Now, children, tell me who were the lovely couple? James Dillingham Young and Della Dillingham Young. Now, what is the meaning of this word here, bulldozing? Bulldozing is arguing forcefully. Della argued with the grocer, vegetable man, the butcher, until their cheeks burn with silence imputation. In the sense, cheeks burn means felt ashamed, and they reduced the bill or the money. And so she was able to save only $1.87. The Dillingham couple was living in a furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beggar description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the mendicancy squad. The letterbox in the lobby was to receive the letters. The electric button was not functioning. The nameplate bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young was fixed near the car box. It was done during the time when Jim was earning $30 per week, but now the income had shrunk to $20. They were planning to contract Dillingham to a modest deal. In this paragraph, the writer describes the flat of the couple. They were living in a furnished flat, but it was old. It looked like as if it was a mendicancy squad, as if some beggars lived. They have given the phrase beggars description. Meaning is impossible to describe in words. And the income, when the income shrunk to $20, they had a nameplate with the name James Dillingham Young. They were thinking in the future, not now, thinking in the future of contracting Dillingham to a modest D. But still now the name was on the nameplate. And they had some humor also, you can see. Can you guess the humor here in this paragraph? The electric button was not functioning. There was the electric button and nobody would come to their house also, and it was not functioning. Let's move on with the next part of the story. Stella started counting the money again. She looked out of the window and everything looked dark and grey to her. There was a fire glass between the windows of the room. Della, being slender, had mastered the art of observing her reflection in the mirror. Suddenly, she got an idea and was thrilled. She pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. Della's beautiful hair fell about like rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. It reached below her knee and made itself a garment for her. Now in this paragraph, the writer explains her beautiful long hair. There was a pier glass. Pier glass is a tall, narrow mirror, and she had mastered that art of observing her reflection because she was so slim and slender, and she could see her figure in that narrow mirror which was hung on the wall. And suddenly she saw her hair, long hair, which is compared to the waterfall. To the waterfall. Writer compares her rippling, shining hair to the waterfall. And she makes her decision. One decision she makes, and what is that decision? We'll read. In this paragraph, the writer brings out the two possessions of the young couple. There were two possessions of the Dillinghams in which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her long hair hang out the window some day to dry, just to depreciate Her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Had the King Solomon been the janitor, with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. Now here, the writer explains the two possessions of the Dillinghams. What were the two mighty possessions they took pride in? One was Jim's gold watch and the other was Della's hair. Now they have mentioned the Queen Sheba. Now, Queen Sheba is the queen who visited Solomon and gave him many rich gifts. And she asked King Solomon many questions. which he answered to her satisfaction. She was the beautiful, rich queen. And in case if she lived nearby, she would have given all her jewels to Della just to get that long, lovely hair. This is the comparison, right? The writer tells how beautiful the hair of Della was. And then the writer even mentions King Solomon. King Solomon, it's a story, God appeared in his dream, it seems, and promised him anything he asked. Solomon asked understanding and wisdom. He asked God to help him to govern his people well and wisely. God was so pleased with his request and he granted him all the riches and honor as well as the wisdom. And the writer tells us that in case if he lived near near the house, he would have pulled his beard with envy every time looking at the watch of Jim. And here janitor means the caretaker. Cascade is waterfall. I hope it is clear to you. Bella wore her brown jacket and her hat, tied her hair and walked down the stairs to the street. She went straight to Madame Safroni. She dealt in hair goods of all kinds. She sold her hair, long hair, for $20. The next 2 hours, she searched the stores for Jim's present and found one at last. It was a platinum fob chain, simple and chaste in design. It was worthy of the watch. As soon as she saw it, she knew that it must be Jim's. It was like him, quietness and value. She paid $21 for the fob chain. Here, O. Henry explains to us the way Della sacrifices her long hair and why she sacrifices her long hair. She sacrifices it to buy a present to Jim. What was the present she bought for Jim? It was a platinum fob chain. The writer compares the platinum chain to the behavior or personality of Jim. He says that it was simple and chaste in design. It looked elegant and it was like Jim, because Jim was also quiet. Jim was simple and chaste in his behavior. Let's move on with the next slide. As soon as Della reached home, her intoxication gave way a little to prudence and reason. She made various attempts to conceal the damage done to her hair. She took out her curling irons to make her hair appear curly. She looked like a Coney Island chorus girl. She waited eagerly for Jim to return from work. As soon as Jim entered the room, he stood as immovable as a setter. At the scent of quail, his eyes were fixed on Della. He simply stared at her fixedly with that peculiar expression on his face. Jim was shocked to see her trimmed short hair. He took out a packet and gave it to her to open. What is the meaning of the word Coney Island? Coney Island is a famous entertainment place on Long Island in New York. And who is the chorus girl? Chorus girl is a girl who dances and sings in a musical comedy. So, O. Henry tells she looked like that singer who was entertaining the people. And setter, Jim was stood like an immovable setter. Setter is a dog trained to remain motionless at the scent of a bird to be hunted. So it was a dog, hunting dog. So he looked at her with a peculiar expression. He was shocked, looking at her trimmed short hair. And he removed a packet and gave. Why was he shocked? Why was he shocked? Let's see. Della opened the packet and found the combs she had always longed for, those combs. Pure tortoise shell with the jewel rims, just the shade to wear in the beautiful vanished hair. Did you understand why Jim was shocked? Because he had brought a gift to Della, and it was a set of combs. She always longed to have them, buy them, but she never expressed her desire. Now that gift was useless because she had sacrificed her hair, long hair, to buy a present for Jim. And now she changes her mood quickly and tells Jim that she had brought a beautiful present for him. Della pacified him, saying that her hair would grow soon, and eagerly gave him her gift, the platinum fob chain for his watch. Instead of being happy, he tells her that he had sold the gold watch to buy the combs for her. Now it was Della's turn to be sad, because he sold the watch to buy the gift for her. Long hair, to tie her long hair with beautiful combs. And she had sacrificed her hair to buy the platinum fob chain for his watch, because that watch was something valuable for him. And the chain had become old. So she wanted to buy him a new chain, and she buys the fob chain. Fob is a chain by which a pocket watch is attached to a waistcoat. Fob is a chain by which a pocket watch is attached to a waistcoat. So both of them had bought each other valuable gifts, but they were of no use to them. In this context, the author refers to the Magi, the three kings who carried gifts to the newborn baby Jesus. However, the gifts of the kings brought were of no use to the baby Jesus at that time, but that showed their love and affection and respect for baby Jesus in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Here, Della and Jim sacrificed their prized possessions to buy gifts for each other, which could not be used by them. The author concludes saying that those people who gave and received gifts, Della and Jim were the wisest. They were as wise as the Magi. That was in itself great for them. The story tells us no matter how rich and poor one is, giving a gift with love is the most precious action. According to the writer, the young couple are the wisest. Though they are very poor, they have given gifts, rich gifts, and that symbolizes their deep love for each other. Magi were the three wise men who brought gift to baby Jesus in the manger. Magi is the plural form, magus is the singular. I hope you understood the story. Here I have given the close study selected from the textbook. Go through it. You can write it in your notebook. The first sentence is this, and the second one is about a sentence which is quite witty for you to understand, but it is simplified here and explained so you can understand this also. I hope the lesson is clear to you. Happiness is the highest form of health, says Dalai Lama. With this quote, I would like to end today's class. Thank you, children, and God bless you.